Okay, well, thank you very much. Ito po si Nico Fabian once again. Nandito po sa programa natin na Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico. And today is the first day of February. February 1st na po, no? Madali lang ang araw po, no? We just passed the month of January and now we are on the second month of 2026 po. As what I said, the month of February 2026 po, we are expecting two significant celebrations po. One is the Day of the Hearts, and that is Valentine's Day, that will fall on February 14. And at the same time po, no, on February 17, we are going to enjoy or celebrate na naman po ang welcoming of the Chinese New Year, and that will be on February 17 po. It will jumpstart on February 17 and it will last until 15 days celebration ito po, and it will end on March 3 if I'm not mistaken. And the last day of the celebration, they call it as Chop Gome po. Chop Gome. So yun po ang February natin. But hindi lang yan po very significant sabihin natin celebration for the month of February. Mayroon pa po today ang mga kapatid, kaibigan na kababayan ba natin po, no, who are embracing itong mga Tamil Hindu friends natin po. They are celebrating today po ang Thaipusam festival, no? Ano ba ito, Thaipusam festival? Itong Thaipusam festival, I will be talking to you about this briefly later on po in just a few seconds or minutes po. In the meantime, unang-una po, I just want to invite each and every one of you, ang mga kababayan ko, kapatid ko, kaibigan ko po dito sa Malaysia. I want to greet all of you. Salamat patang po, kasi today or ngayon po is afternoon, no? So, to all of you, friends in Kuala Lumpur or other states in West Malaysia po, no? Ang mga Filipinos natin and Malaysian friends, salamat patang to each and every one of you. And of course, ang mga kaibigan natin po, kababayan, kapatid natin dito po sa Malaysia o sa Sabah, mga Filipino communities po, no? Salamat patang to each and every one of you. To all our overseas Filipino workers po, kung nasan man kayo po, no? I also want to say and greet to all of you kung nasan man kayo po. Salamat pagi, salamat patang, and salamat malam. In other words, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Same greetings also goes to our friends dyan po sa kaibigan, kapatid, kababayan natin po, dyan po mismo sa nation natin which we call the Philippines. Salamat pagi, salamat patang, and salamat malam to each and every one of you. Let us also not forget to greet ang mga senior citizens natin at sa mga super senior citizens natin po, no? Kaya sa amin, senior citizens po, pero hindi pa kami nasa category ng super senior po. Hindi pa. So, mga may sakit din po, I hope you will have a speedy recovery and balik ang normal life sa inyo po. Lahat ng mga may sakit po, no? Including ang mga pregnant woman natin po. Successful delivery ninyo po, no? Be it tomorrow, be it next month, be it a few months later, no? So, ito po si Nico Fabian. I would like to say again, welcome na welcome po dito sa programa Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico. Today, I will be touching on the issue. On the issue. Ang daming issue po, no? Ang daming issue, but I will only focus in one interview. One interview na ang interviewer at saka yung nag-interview sa kanya, nag-interview po sa kanya po. Now, they touch a lot of issues. That's why I would like to remind each and every one of you and encourage and ask all of you po, no, to watch itong interview po that I'm going to share with you po, a video clip, no? A video clip po, which is very important for me because they touch a lot of issues po regarding ang sitwasyon dyan po sa Pilipinas. But before going to this issue, let me greet once again ang mga Tamil Hindu friends natin po who is celebrating today. Today po ang Thaipusam festival or celebration nila po. Ano ba ito, Thaipusam? Taipusam o Taipusam. Ha? Taipusam. Taipusam is a Tamil Hindu festival celebrated on the first full moon day of the Tamil month of Thai, coinciding with Pusam star. The festival is celebrated to commemorate the victory of Hindu god Simurgan over the demon Surapadman. During the battle, Murugan is believed to have yielded a veil, a divine spear granted by his mother po. Ano ba ito po? Ano ba ito po? I will show you po isang picture. Ito po ang picture ng celebration nila po. Maganda, very colorful. Very colorful po. Tingnan ninyo po. Taipusam. And Batu Cave noon sa Penang, I think a lot of people, mga Tamil Hindu po, who is celebrating today ang festival nila po. And saan ha? Sandali po. Sandali. We will see. And kung mayroon tayo dito, sandali po. Yun, if you look at the, ang celebration nila, maski dito po sa Sabah, every year we can see yun mga spear, they spear dito po sa cheek na, natin and maglabas dito po, no? This is what you call ang celebration nila. Kagaya itong picture, I will share with you po, no? Itong picture. Ito po. I don't know if you can see. I don't know kung klaro ba ito po. Kagaya mga ganito. Kagaya mga ganito. Alright, another picture that, ito po, you see. Ito po. I will try to see if klaro ba ito sa inyo, no? Ganito yan po. And you can see this kind of parade. Parade ba yan po? O procession nila po, no? Kagaya dito sa Sabah, this morning, mayroon yan po dyan sa area ng Putatan po, no? So, this is the celebration, Taipusam celebration, which ang mga Tamil Hindu friends natin po are celebrating today. I would like to greet muna din tayo po. Shoutout muna tayo kay Angela Alvarez, who is watching ang programa natin ngayon po, no? Ngayon. So, yun po. Ang celebration, once again, I would like to say, Happy Taipusam. Kaya Binay Emong Lopez, who is also watching. Kung nasaan man siya o kung nasaan man kayo po, I would like to say salamat patang, salamat malam, and salamat pagi sa inyong lahat, and hope everything is running smoothly sa buhay natin po. Especially, we are starting a new month, February. First day of the month, first day of February, February 1st tayo ngayon po. No? Ngayon, yan po sa Pilipinas, kumusta kayo? Mayroon pa ba sweldo? Si Mr. nagbigay na ba ang sahod niya, ang sweldo niya kay Mrs.? No? Huwag natin kalimutan ang pamilya natin po. No? Kasi it is the responsibility of every head of the family, ang mga tatay po, no? Ang mga husband, this is our responsibility to make sure that masking paano mas mahirap ang buhay natin po, we have to make sure that secured ang pamilya natin, secured ang misis natin, ang mga anak natin po, no? Sa bahay, no? Sa bahay. Maskin paano po ang buhay natin, dapat lang po responsible, ang mga husband, mga head of the family po. So, yon po ang things that I want to pass to you po. But before going any further, again, I just want to share with you po muna po ano ba ang latest, kasi karamihan din po I receive messages, calls, no? Coming from our Filipino friends dito po sa Sabah. They're asking, Sir Nick, kumusta ba po ang ang latest updates tungkol sa sea tragedy the other day po dyan po sa Basilan. I'm referring to Trisha 3, no? Ang sinking of Trisha Christine 3 po dyan po sa coastal area ng Baluk-Baluk, Matuman, Basilan province po. So, ang latest updates na nakuha ko ngayon po, no, is that fatalities, in terms of death, based on the report that we received and also officially published sa various national newspapers and local newspapers dyan po sa Pilipinas, including ang newspaper dito po sa Sabah o dito sa Malaysia po, no? In general, na according to the Philippine Coast Guard, dyan po sa Pilipinas, na ang figure tumaas na po. No? Tumaas na po. It means there are a total of 40 na po confirmed dead sa sea tragedy. Yon Tricia Kirsten 3. MV Tricia Kirsten 3 po. 40 dead reported na po. Ito ang news po, no? 3 more passengers, including a prominent member of a large non-government organization of the MV Tricia 3, which sank in territorial seas of Basilan, were found by rescuers kahapon po or Saturday, January 31. Provincial officials in Basilan and the mayor of the island town of Haji Mataman, Arsina Kahinganano, separately confirmed on Sunday, February 1st, that the rescuers recovered on Saturday the bodies of 4-month pregnant Dirnalin Muarip, her daughter Sharfa, and an elementary pupil, and Rikmar Aptong. MV Tricia 3 was sailing from Zamboanga City Port to Holo Town in Sulu when it sank Haji Matamad before dawn on January 26. January 26 po, madaling araw yan po na nangyari ang sea tragedy. Rescuers from the office of Basilan, Governor Mujib Mataman, the Haji Matamad local government unit, the Philippine Coast Guard, the Philippine Navy, and the Western Mineral Command have so far recovered the bodies of 40 passengers, 40 na po, 40 dead bodies po, from MV Tricia Kirsten 3, and rescued 316 others who are now undergoing stress debriefing and psychological intervention by experts from various government agencies. Nano, who as mayor also served as a chairman of the multi-sectoral Haji Mutamad Municipal Peace and Order Council, reported that the recovery of the bodies of the Muaribs and Aptong on Saturday brought the death toll in the area mishap to 40. Aptong, a member of the Junior Chamber International, was well known in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao for having served as the organization president for Sulu and later as vice president for the non-defunct Autonomous Region and Muslim Mindanao. Employees of the Basilan Provincial Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Office and the local executives in Haji Matamad, just 2 miles from where the MV Tricia Kirsten overturned and sank, told reporters on Sunday that the bodies of Muaribs and Aptong were immediately transported to Zamboanga City by personnel of the Philippine Coast Guard. The remains of the Muaribs were later shipped to Sulu according to Basilan provincial officials po. So yan po ang latest. Yan po ang latest. And based on the monitoring that I have been closely monitoring po dyan sa Zamboanga City po, confirm po, no? Mayroon din mga hindi rehistrado, not registered sa manifesto po, mga passengers. Kaya nga po, there is a big possibility that the vessel was overloaded po, no? Earlier report we received that the capacity of the vessel can accommodate a total of 350 passengers po, no? And there were some reports na mayroon na reported na 332 passengers registered sa manifesto, But as things are moving, nakita natin po na more than 332 po. So, ibig sabihin, mayroon mga pasahero po hindi nag-register. Because it has been a normal practice dyan po sa Pilipinas, dyan po sa Zamboanga. Mayroon mga pasahero po, they don't go and buy the ticket anymore po. They will just board. They will just board ang vessel. Pagdating ang ticketing inspection po, and they will declare that they do not have the ticket, and they will pay. Diyan po nasa barko na po while on the way, while traveling from their port of origin to their port of destination po. So, yun po. So, there is big possibility, sabi ang mga authorities concerned, local authorities concerned sa Zamboanga, that posible ang vessel was overloaded. No? Overloaded po. But still unconfirmed ito po, no? Still unconfirmed. So, okay. So, yan ang latest updates na mayroon tayo dyan po sa Pilipinas. Tungkol naman dito sa Sabah, sa Kota Kinabalu po, I just want to congratulate ang Sabah Tourism Board natin dito po sa Sabah, dito sa Kota Kinabalu po. Last Friday, mayroon tayong Tourism Award ceremony, function po, and mga stakeholders, mga players ng tourism dito sa Sabah po, they were awarded, no? For their contribution to the local tourism industry po. And for the information of the general public, no, ang Sabah last year, we managed to hit more than 3.5 tourist arrivals, no? Foreign tourist arrivals dito po sa Sabah. Dito po sa Sabah po. And they are very optimistic, ang mga tao dito po, ang mga tourism players, including ang Sabah Tourism Board and the Sabah Tourism Ministry po, they are very optimistic po that they can exceed ang 3.5 million tourist arrivals registered last year po. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, they are looking at no less than 4 million visitors, both domestic and foreign visitors or arrivals coming to Sabah itong year 2026, which happens to be the Visit Malaysia year. Visit Malaysia year po. And more promotion, aggressive promotion will be carried out from this year until next year po, because next year ang Sabah will be celebrating, will be launching ang Sabah Visit year po, no? This year is Malaysia, next year is Sabah po, 2027. So maganda po ang resulta ng mga promotions ng Sabah Tourism Board natin dito po, at saka mga support given by the stakeholders ng local tourism natin po. Kaya nga maganda ang ang number, ang figures na we managed to achieve last year po. And of course, lahat naman ng mga tao dito po, no? Mga locals as well as foreigners, no? Sabihin natin na mga migrants, no? Expats, no? We are all supporting ang efforts ng gobyerno po in terms of promoting tourism, not only Malaysia in general, but also Sabah po, included na po ang Sabah. So, I was also made to understand, may okasyon tayo dyan po sa Pilipinas, no? Last week, yata yun, no? And dyan po sa Cebu, Friday yata yun, no? And ang Philippine government natin, tourism department natin po also carried out a promotion po, no? And function doon po, attended by not only mga stakeholders, mga players dyan po, mga Filipino players sa turismo, but also from other Asian countries. That includes Malaysia, even Sabah. I was made to understand, ang former MATA president natin, si Datu Dato Tan Kok Liang, no? He texted me po the other day that he's going to attend the function dyan po sa Cebu. And he was impressed. I think yesterday I received a text from him po. Sabi niya, maganda talaga po ang Cebu. And ano ito po? Philippines is preparing aggressively sa promotion ng turismo dyan po sa Pilipinas. I hope po we will achieve our goals dyan po sa Pilipinas in terms sa turismo po, no? Because last year po, pinakamababa na talaga po ang Pilipinas when it comes to the number of foreign visitors visiting sa mga Asian countries. Top on the list was Malaysia, no? Was Malaysia followed by Vietnam po, no? And pinakamababa ang Pilipinas po. Why? Is it because of, alam na natin po, may malaking problema ang Pilipinas. That's why I'm hoping po na ang gobyerno natin po, no? Everybody, no? Will really do everything, no? To solve itong problema natin, particularly itong graft and corruption po. Now being implicated na po ang mga politician natin po. Especially names, mga senators, mga congressmen po, top government officials po. Dahil dyan po sa corruption po, you cannot blame if foreigners, holiday makers, is having second thought in coming down to the Philippines po. Maganda ang Pilipinas. We have a lot of beautiful tourism spots po. Kagaya sa Palawan, very known. Ang Boracay natin po, ang Baguio. But why is it po, kunti lang ang turista natin last year. Kunti lang po. There must be something, no? And I hope ang gobyerno natin po will be able to address the problem para balik na po ang sabihin natin ang mga turista natin po. Kaya dito sa Sabah, top on the list pa lang po, no? Last year, ang China tourists. Ang dami po. I think we have more than 600 plus thousand Chinese holiday makers come and visited Sabah. No? Na I hope dyan po sa Pilipinas will be able to entice again, encourage again ang mga Chinese friends natin po to visit ang Pilipinas po, no? But we have to solve ang problema muna natin. Especially itong Philippine-China relationship natin po, no? No? So, sino-sino ito? Shoutout muna tayo kay Rosel Galon, who is also watching. Sino pa po? David Jackson, Jamore. I'm sorry, thank you very much for watching. Si Binay Emong, also Emong Lopez is also watching. Kung nasa man kayo po, I hope everything is running smoothly sa buhay ninyo po. Godspeed. Godspeed sa inyo at sa pamilya ninyo po. Alright. As what I said earlier po, I'm going to share with you a video clip po. No? A video clip. Interview ito po. Joselito Marquez also watching. Thank you very much, Mr. Joselito Marquez. Taga-samba ito si Joselito. Definitely from Philippines ito. But anyway, God bless to you, Mr. Joselito Marquez. God bless and hope everything is running smoothly sa buhay ni Joselito Marquez po. Okay, as what I mentioned earlier po, na I'm going to share with you itong interview, the exchange, no? Sino yan ang host? Si Mr. Rico Hizon. Rico Hizon, and very popular itong programa niya po, no? Diyan sa online o sa Facebook, sa YouTube po, and sa television, national television dyan po sa Pilipinas. And this time around po, he was interviewing ang former ombudsman dyan po sa Pilipinas, and I'm referring to Madam or Justice Conchita Carpio Morales. Ang dami sila mga issue po they touch. And this is for this reason po na entice din ako po, na-encourage din ako po. Sabi ko, maganda mga issues and I'll better bring this interview po sa mga kababayan, kapatid, kaibigan ko po dito sa Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico. So let's watch and listen carefully po. And maganda ito, interview. Although a little bit long, siguro mga, I will not say how many minutes. But anyway, watch natin po. This is good for everybody sa atin po. Especially if we want to know what is happening dyan po sa Pilipinas. No? Dyan po sa Pilipinas. And before giving you the video clip, I just want to remind po, no? I will be very busy tomorrow. I will be monitoring po what is happening in the Philippines tungkol itong, narinig na ba ninyo po itong balita na mayroon yun political analyst, strategist po si, and a very respectable media personality po dyan sa Pilipinas, si Malu Tequia, wherein nakita ko sa posting niya po, no? Social media, wherein mayroon parang baka there will be a new Senate President po. Senate President dyan po sa Pilipinas by tomorrow. Hindi ito confirm. Haka-haka ito ko po, can I say rumors ba, no? Or stories being circulated. Circulating ngayon po sa Pilipinas po, sa social media and other social media platforms po, no? Now, there is a possibility daw po, no? May story na saying, baka si Senate President Tito Soto will be replaced by history in the making by a lady senator. Ibig sabihin, lady, female Senate President. I remember, noon, akala ko po matuloy yun po, no? But hindi yun natuloy po. Sana naka-break ang record na po. First female Senate President natin during that time. 19th Congress pa yun, no? Si Cynthia Villar, Senator Cynthia Villar. But he did not accept that the offer sa kanya po, no? By mga colleagues na po. So this time around, let's see po kung patuloy ba ito bukas. That's why I will be very busy tomorrow so that whatever mga updates I will be able to get, I will make sure that ang mga followers ko po will be properly informed. Based on speculations lang ito po, should it will happen tomorrow, po, in other words, if that will happen, the stories will come through tomorrow po. In other words, may haka-haka po na there will be new majority bloc, and that will be comprising of 19 senators. 19 senators po. And as a result, there will be a new list or new members of minority bloc po comprising of 5 members po. Sa ngayon, minority po 9. The rest, majority. So, kung ano mangyari bukas, kung totoo ito po, there will be change of leadership sa Senado po. So, ang storya po is saying na there will be 19 members sa bagong minority bloc and only 5 sa minority. Majority 19, minority 5. Sino-sino po? Speculated lang po, no? Haka-haka lang na po ito sa majority block. Sino-sino po? Majority block, it means administration. Si Senator Bam Aquino, si Senator Alan Peter Cayetano, si Senator Jinggoy Estrada, si Senator Amy Marcos, si Senator Robin Hood Padilla, Senator Mark Villar, Senator De La Rosa, Senator Pia Cayetano, Senator Sherwin Gatchalian, Senator Lito Lapid, Senator Rafi Tulfo, and Senator Joel Villanueva. 19 yan sila po, no? 19 yan sila po. And sino-sino pa sa 19? Senator Bongo, Senator Ejercito, Senator Rodante Marcoleta, Senator Loren Legarda, Senator Villar Camil, and Senator Mick Subiri. 19 yun po. Kung matuloy yun po. Now, on the other hand po, possible, minority bloc will be comprising of Senator Ping Lacson, 1. Senator Risa Hontiveros, 2. Senator Kiko Pangilinan, 3. Senator Soto, Tito Soto, 4. And Senator Erwin Tulfo, 5. So, yun po ang rumors being circulated or circulating ngayon po dyan sa Pilipinas po or sa Filipino community po. We don't know whether this will be true or not. Let's see until tomorrow. Let's see until tomorrow. Okay. So, yun na. Klarong-klaro, hindi yung totoo po. Lahat ito haka-haka. Speculations. We will only know the truth bukas. Tomorrow po. Kung talaga ba there will be a change of leadership dyan po sa Senate, sa Senado natin po. Presently, the incumbent na Senate President is Senate President Vicente Soto III. Alright? So, punta na tayo po, no? Punta na tayo sa video clip. Si Rico Hizon and former Ombudsman Justice Conchita Carpio Morales. Let's watch and listen to this po.
And a lot of critics are saying that it should go all the way up to the former speaker, Martin Romualdez. Why hasn't he been arrested? Why is he still free?
I don't know if he was made to account for his alleged misdealings. But some people also say that he did a lot of layering. And so it's difficult to track where his corrupt money, if at all he had, went, and how he did it.
And you yourself, Justice, during your career, were you able to unearth a lot of this layering in some of the cases that you've handled, and how did you do it?
Oh yes, sometimes a piece of evidence might be so innocent looking, but it is that piece of evidence which is innocent looking which gives you the breakthrough. You have to be just, very, very intent in determining the presence of evidence that will make or break the case.
So do you think that by further digging deeper into this layering of layers of corruption, we will eventually see more people behind bars?
I'm very optimistic. Very optimistic.
What about the ICI? I mean, you have already 2 members resigning, Rogelio Singson and Rosana Fajardo. Does it still have any credibility with Justice Andres Reyes Jr. still leading it?
Well, I'm not going to talk about credibility. I'm just going to say that allegedly the president is now awaiting the report of the ICI. How soon he's going to wait, that I do not know. Because if indeed the proceedings were recorded, it would be easy to come up with a report.
You love writing melodies?
The ICI now be abolished, and all of the evidence just be handed over to the Department of Justice and to the Ombudsman?
Well, probably it will die a natural death. If its mission is already accomplished, I don't see any reason why it should still continue.
Well, apart from Singson and Ms. Fajardo, they haven't really been able to find 2 other replacements. What about you, Justice Morales? If given the opportunity to be a partner in the ICI with Justice Andres Reyes Jr., would you take it up?
No.
Why not?
No.
Why a big no?
Well, for one thing, it's already about to die a natural death because apparently the mission is now accomplished, but that the report is just being finalized. Now, why do you want to know why? Because that's it.
So what's next after the ICI?
Well, the report and recommendation will be brought to the Ombudsman or to the Department of Justice, and or then it's up to the Ombudsman to look at the report and to determine whether or not the report and the recommendation deserves merit. If it does not deserve merit, that does not prevent the Ombudsman from reinvestigating, collecting evidence.
And all of this evidence that has been gathered by the ICI, shouldn't it be presented to the people? Shouldn't the ICI be transparent and accountable?
It should be
Yeah,
transparent.
because many of the hearings were not even live streamed.
Correct.
And
correct.
even the former justice said that these hearings shouldn't even be live streamed.
That's right. In fact, I was saying when I was asked to be a member of the ICI that, I said I am imperviously influenced, and that I would not want anybody to interfere in the way I would conduct the hearing. And then again, I said for the hearing to be confidential, that I didn't agree with.
Let's take a look at the case of Senator Villanueva. Ombudsman Martinez reversed the resolution that he issued. If he were still the ombudsman, where would Senator Villanueva be right now, Justice?
All right. If the motion for reconsideration that he filed, by the way, I did not receive a copy, nor was I informed about it. If that motion for reconsideration was meritorious, I would have granted it. But as far as I'm concerned, I was very certain that when I issued the resolution finding probable cause against him, I was certain that he was guilty, even if the law calls for just mere probably guilty.
So if that's the case, where would Senator Villanueva be right now?
He would be in jail.
And how long?
If he were convicted.
If he were convicted. Yes, if he were convicted. And if he were convicted, how many years would he have been in jail? And he wouldn't be in the Senate right now.
Well, I cannot recall the number of years now that the crime he committed called for, but I'm sure he would have languished in jail.
The way you said it, Justice Morales, with a lot of conviction. With a lot of conviction.
Yes, I am very certain.
In that case, we would also see right now more senators and politicians also behind bars.
I don't know. It would depend on the assessment by the courts, by the justices, whether or not the evidence merits conviction beyond reasonable doubt.
Moving on to public service, are you optimistic or pessimistic that the Philippines can break this cycle of corruption that we are in right now?
It can probably crack, but not entirely break it. As I've always said, it's difficult to completely erase corruption. But we can, give a tad of a break if indeed we can be very purposive in doing what we want to do.
But are we purposive in what we are doing? Is the political will there? Because it also has to come from the
My
top.
personal opinion is we are not.
And how should we be purposive and how should we really move forward
We should have
in eradicating, well, we cannot eradicate, but in mitigating corruption.
We should have officials who mean business. We should have officials who cite examples, who do things by example. But if the officials we rely on are themselves corrupt or do not intend to crack corruption, I don't think we will go anywhere.
But do we have that many public officials who are fearless and will even fight and contradict the president of this country?
All right. I'm afraid that there are not many officials in this country who are
Why do you
bent
think?
on-
Why do you think that, Justice?
Well, I can see from what has been reported in newspapers that, you come up with this, but people are disappointed because actions on these cases linger until people forget them and until they get acquitted or they get pardoned.
You are really a fighter, Justice Morales. You will fight for what? For the country and for the people.
That I concur.
Where do you get this fearlessness?
Maybe I
Justice Morales.
was born to be fearless. I come from a family of fearless people. So probably keeping true to form. I had to be fearless.
And who were your inspirations?
Well, my uncles, my father, he was fearless. My uncles were fearless. And of course, some officials of the Department of Justice.
Why did you not fear the former President Rodrigo Duterte when many feared him?
Well, I know that I was in the right track. I know law and jurisprudence. He did not. If he did not like to apply it. I'm citing this case of my overall deputy ombudsman. He wanted him axed. But the president does not have any administrative jurisdiction over the deputy ombudsman, overall deputy ombudsman. And that issue was brought to the Supreme Court in the case of Gonzales. What did the Supreme Court say? The president cannot administratively fault deputy ombudsman or overall deputy ombudsman. And so since he was not authorized by law to administratively fault the overall deputy ombudsman, I refused to implement his order of suspension.
Did you have a face-to-face confrontation with the former President Duterte?
Never.
About this?
Never.
Were you ever in the same room with him and discuss with him cases?
Never. Early on, we were in the same room in Malacanang whenever, those United Nations affairs were brought up in Malacanang, but never after that. And of course, we were in the same room when we were both principal sponsors during the wedding of my nephew. This is the brother of Mansi, the husband of Sarah.
Okay. So there is a sort of like a relation there. Never had any small talk. Any chats?
Only in the church, in the San Agustin Church, when I think that has been made public. When he said that he used to go there to the church whenever he was having break in his schooling in Lyceum, Lyceum, and that he always went to church. And I said that I could not say because I'm not religious. And then he said, yes, I know. Your father used to tell me that you are not. Because our house in GSIS village was one house away from the house of the Dutertes.
And that was the only chat that you've ever had with him while you were still ombudsman.
Yes.
What do you think should happen to the former president now that he is in The Hague awaiting his fate with the International Court of Justice?
Again, I'm sure the judges will go by the evidence. If they find the evidence is strong enough to convict him, then so be it.
Do you think he'll ever come home a free man?
That would depend whether or not he'll be found innocent or whether he'll be found guilty.
But if he does come home, will he be coming home a hero, you think?
Well, that would depend on the sign of the times. Sarah is very popular now. And they say that if he goes, I don't know, I'm not concurring nor dissenting. If he goes, then Sarah's popularity will rise. So, for those who do not like Duterte, they should pray that he be kept alive. For those who hate Duterte, for those who love Duterte, they should pray that he should.
So when all is said and done, Justice Morales, what will happen to our country? In the near and medium term,
We are people.
as we go through these challenges in our political landscape.
People steeped in resilience.
But we have always been said, let's not anymore use the word resilience. We have to fight back.
Oh yes, in fact, if you are silent despite all these chaotic scandals and all that, then you are party to the blame. We should talk widely. And why do you think there are, the trouble is that people have already this people power syndrome. They try to organize big rallies, pero, when the day comes, those who say, I will be attending the rally and all that would not show up. People power syndrome.
Yeah, so without the people power syndrome, how can we generally institute change? Because people really have to be on the streets to let our public servants know that what they are doing
Well, we
is
keep
wrong.
trying. There's no harm trying. Keep trying.
So you think that this corruption scandal in flood control and in other agencies of government will not disappear. The people will remain vigilant and continue to pursue.
I'm very, very optimistic.
And finally, Justice Morales, your message to the Filipino people and what must be done to be able to eradicate corruption in our society.
Well, our countrymen should continue, fighting all these anomalies in the government. Because if we are silent, we are party to this corruption scandal. We are party to all these anomalies. So we should keep on fighting and never mind the resilience. The resilience has worn off. Let's not rely on that word no more. Let's fight. Don't allow people to step on us forever. Let's fight.
All right, yun po. That's the interview of beyond the exchange of Rico Hizon and interviewing kay former ombudsman si Justice Conchita Carpio Morales po. Ang dami siya mga issues. He touched a lot of issues po, no? And that is for this very reason that I decided to share with you itong interview po, no? And yes, as what she said, no? For the Filipinos po, let's continue to fight po. To remain silent, it means that we are part of the problem. No? So we have to fight and fight po. Shout out and we will be part of the solution po. Wala mangyari po if we keep quiet po. No? If we keep quiet. Let us continue to fight and go against these people involved sa graft and corruption sa gobyerno po. That's the only thing. And she also mentioned about whether we like it or not, that Vice President Inday Sara Duterte is still very popular ngayon po, even now po, no? Even now, she is still very popular po. No one can deny the fact po that she's still very popular po. And top on the list pa po pagdating sa presidential election. Presidential election po. So, ito na po, maganda ang mga issues they touch during the interview of beyond the exchange by Rico Hizon and former Justice Conchita Carpio Morales. Sana lang po, no? You learn something from the interview po, no? And that is the very reason why I decided to share with you ang interview nila. So, siguro hanggang dito na lang po ang programa natin for Sunday, February 1st po. And the first day of February. And let's make full use of the month of February po. And let's hope and pray that the month of February will be a fruitful, problem-free month for each and every one of us. Once again, si Nico Fabian would like to say, station lang kayo po sa programa natin Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico, and I will make sure po whatever I'll get tomorrow, no, about these rumors on change of leadership in the House, in the Senate, Philippine Senate po, I will make sure that you will be informed. You will. I won't be able to give you the breaking news maybe, but the news that I'm going to give you tomorrow will still be fresh. So with this, once again, Nico Fabian would like to say thank you very much for making me a part of your day today. Malaysia, Sabah, Philippines, God bless us all. Enjoy ang weekend natin po, and let's look forward for a very exciting and fruitful brand new week for each and every one of us. Bye, and I'll see you in my next episode. I love you, and take care.